Welcome back to Power CEOs. I am here with Dr. Alan Badeau, and we are talking all things AI. There is a whole lot happening in the AI space. We spent the last segment that we talked with you, Dr. Alan, about the big infrastructure changes that have happened with the new administration. We've talked a lot about where things are going, and we touched on something that I think we need to dive a little deeper on, and that's the rescinding of the EO on the guardrails around an AI safety. And we touched on healthcare a little bit, but we really didn't dive deep. And I think that particular industry has a lot of opportunity because we know that there are a lot of ways that we can accelerate leading medicine when we incorporate our artificial intelligence. There's a lot of admin and back officey type stuff that we can take off of plates. We have a burnout crisis in America. We are losing brain trust left and right because of it. And AI could offer solutions. So what are you seeing both with the EO that was rescinded and also with the huge uptick in spending on AI infrastructure?
Yeah, I think this is something that we really should emphasize when it comes to opportunities. This is really the first time, if you look at some of the things that the Mayo Clinic is doing and what they've just released with some partnerships that they have with OpenAI, especially around, for the first time, there's going to be a sponsored, OpenAI, system that will look at X-rays and accelerate the reading of X-rays. Now that's been going on for a long time, right? We've seen, a lot of studies out there talking about it, but this is a operational production system that, you're not going to have an awful lot of, folks that are just, checking all the results because that stuff has been done. It's been benchmarked. There's great articles and, medical journal papers out there explaining exactly what they're doing. That's huge because, me as a patient, being able to get information faster, more efficient, not having to wait as long, the costs go down. That's really, amazing from a service perspective. But then on the flip side, that's an opportunity because if you can do it for X-rays, you can start to look at other more complex systems, whether it's, dermatopathology, whether it's, different CAT scan readings and those sort of things. This is really a breakthrough that, pulling those guardrails back, I think is going to really accelerate the use of AI in the medical field and really across the board, whether it's, surgeries to, inpatient care, outpatient care, radiology, and then of course the back office stuff that we really haven't even, touched on, but it's a huge opportunity for a lot of folks. Those old systems that they have, some doctors are still using paper. It's a little scary, but it's that ability to really just transmit information as quickly as possible and get it out there. AI is the only way to do that. And if you do anything in that space, now's the time.
I immediately go to, I'm heavy in the healthcare space from an investment standpoint and the health tech, emergent technologies. And we have fallen behind because of all the challenges to get things through, for example, FDA clearance, get things in from an AI standpoint. There's a lot of hurdles. And I know overseas, there are ultrasounds that AI is doing the reading. It's able to detect lesions almost 100 times smaller than what we can with our naked eyes and with the technology that we have here. So I'm curious if you think that this is going to have a broader impact and spectrum on a worldwide global level, allowing some of these other technologies that other countries have to come in and flow in and actually improve the health and the early detection space in America. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think this kind of paves that way or sets a little bit of a precedent for that?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. And the only reason I won't commit to a solid opinion on that is because, if you look at the car industry, I'm not sure how receptive, folks are going to be having foreign technology brought in under this guise, right? And so, if I peel the onion back, I would say, you know what, there is a lot of technology that's being used overseas if it's not developed here under this president, I don't know how successful that's going to be. If somebody else develops something very similar to it here and we deploy it here, then I would say, yeah, take a chance, go for that, investment, do the research around that and try to get something out there. I don't know if it's going to accelerate, though, an influx of new technology from overseas, just because tariffs, we know they're coming, things like that. I don't know if what the impact of that is going to be.
So what I'm hearing is if you're in the US and you've developed something and you're sitting on it, now's the time to find your partners, find your money partners, find your technical partners, get your prototypes out, make sure you have your clinical research. Let's get it done. And it's time to put your foot on the accelerator, because if you wait 2, 3, 4 years, there may be a different role and a different game in town. And quite frankly, with AI, Alan, you and I have talked about this before. If you're in any industry, and you don't have some sort of a roadmap to include artificial intelligence in some way, shape, or form, whether it's admin or operational efficiency, or whether it's emerging technologies, if you don't have that roadmap in this year, you may find yourself left in the dust as early as 2026. Do you want to kind of weigh in on that with what's being signaled with these executive orders and these new investments in infrastructure?
Yeah, what's funny, I talked about that on my show, that at the end of 2025, you may be done for going into 2026 if you don't have either something lined up with AI or some mechanism that's going to allow you to do that. This is a really a once in a lifetime opportunity from a business perspective. It does not come along very often at all in a century. If you look back at the modernization of different economies, these sort of things do not happen very often. 500 billion is a lot of money, and it can go a lot of different places. And if you look at the folks that are really involved in this, other than Meta and Amazon, it's all the other big boys that are doing something. And they are going to have to try to spend this money as quickly as they can, as efficiently as they can. And you got to get a partnership with them. You've got to do some other non-traditional partnerships that most people don't think about for some ancillary support and technologies. But if you start to do that, and you do that quickly, and you do that as efficiently and smartly as you can, you're never going to get another opportunity like this. And I think from an investment perspective, you've talked so many times about where the money is going. Now the government is starting to align money, additional funds with that. Now it's time for small business owners to just jump. If you're afraid to do that, you're not going to get another chance to do it.
I agree. And I know that we do have an opportunity for businesses that are looking to do this. I know that you do AI readiness assessments and that you have an event coming up. Will you share a little bit about what that looks like and the roadmap to AI? Because it's been a little while since we talked about what goes into that, and what you need to think about before an integration, and then what that looks like really briefly.
Yeah, it's really great because we're looking at it from a whole bunch of different angles. We're looking at it from the executive piece, and folks like yourself are leading, how to get the senior leadership teams ready for those sort of things. I'm looking at it from a technology perspective to say, okay, do you have the resources? Do you have the data? Another gentleman is looking at it from a process perspective, and we're trying to get those aligned so folks can at least have a strategic roadmap that they can really act on coming out of that event. And that's going to give them a real head start when it comes to trying to deploy this as quickly and efficiently as possible. If you are a CEO and you are worried about what your budget is in 26 more than trying to figure out how you can fund something in 25 to get ahead, you're not going to have to worry about your budget in 26, because it's either going to go away or it's going to be decreased. You will lose market share at the end if you're not moving now. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, it really is. Either we're on the tracks and the train's coming for us, or we're on the train situation. And you don't have to freak out if you're listening to this and you don't have this. It literally means get started. Whether getting started is getting your process mapping in place. If getting started means you've got your process mapping in place and you're ready to look at your data to make sure that it's ready and prepped to go, whatever that starting point is for you today, this is the time to get it started because there is a process to AI. It's not like if you're going to do internal operational efficiency, you can just say, click, I'm going to put this in and boom, it's going to happen. There's a lot of prep that goes into this. And if you're not in at least the prep phases right now, you need to understand what needs to happen and get on that train, because none of us can afford our competition having a 40 to 70% reduction in their operating expense, because what's going to happen is they're going to pass that on to the consumer, and that's how they're going to gain our market share, because they're going to
Yeah.
be able to do it better, faster, more effective, more efficient. And there's a mandate to bring cost of living prices down. Well, that means we're going to pass those savings on in part to our consumers, and that will undercut anyone who's not leveraging the technology. Alan, this has been such a pleasure talking to you. It was really great to dive into, especially the healthcare sector, because there's a lot of people looking in that and operating in that space, or that touch auxiliary. There are other verticals that are adjacent to healthcare. And so thank you for your insight. If people would like to learn more, if they'd like to reach out to you, and if they'd like to maybe participate in this event so they can get on that train and get going, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, the easiest way is to go to my website, alanbadeau.ai, and you'll see my contact information out there. They can also, click on a link that I'm going to put up today that's going to tell you when that event is taking place, how you can register for it. Now, you do have to go through a survey with myself. I know it might be painful. You got to sit with me for an hour, but we're gonna make sure that you're ready for the event before you get there. This way you're getting the most out of it as you can. And really, we want to make sure that you can act on that roadmap as soon as you leave.
Fantastic. I recommend to everyone, if you're not on the train, get with Dr. Allen, reach out to him on LinkedIn. If you forget or you don't know how to get in touch with him, reach out to me. We will get you in the right hands so you can be ready and set for success with your AI journey. We do have to take a brief break, but I'll be right back after these messages.